I married into the Hua family with my best friend. She married Hua Yan. And I married Hua Mu Bai, Hua Yan's younger uncle. 2 years later, under the instigation of others, she decided to divorce Hua Yan, saying, "I'll leave. You should leave too. As best friends, we should stick together." In my past life, I agreed, foolishly following her to divorce and leave. However, after the divorce, she secretly took our divorce compensation and went around the world, while I collapsed physically due to a miscarriage. When I asked her to pay me back, she said, "You're really useless. Just fend for yourself." In this life, I decisively refused her, and it was her turn to fend for herself. I want to divorce Hua Yan. I make him kneel every night to wash my feet, and he actually dares to refuse. Xiao Xiao says he doesn't love me at all. My best friend, Xin Mi, started complaining as soon as she got home after gathering with another friend. Don't listen to Xiao Xiao. She's just jealous that you married well. He's your husband, not your servant. Even if he were a servant, there's no reason for him to kneel and wash your feet. Sitting on the sofa eating fruit, I handed her a cherry while earnestly trying to advise her. In my eyes, Xiao Xiao harbored ill intentions. She was just jealous that both of us married well. She used to say such things to me often. She once told me that my husband was almost 40 and that younger men were better. She said she wanted to take me to a nightclub to find 2 handsome guys to keep me company. And I refused. Xiao Xiao is doing this for my own good. Don't say that about her. I've made up my mind. Want a divorce from Hua Yan. If I leave, you should too. We need to support each other as best friends. She pouted, looking at me with excitement, as if to say we could finally escape this sea of suffering. She is my best friend. We grew up together, went to school together, worked together, and married into the Hua family together. But my husband Hua Mubai has really treated me well. I am sure that once I leave him, I won't find another husband who is as good to me as he is. He is almost entirely obedient to me. Even gave me an unlimited credit card, and lets me drive any car at home. Whenever he goes on a business trip, he always brings me gifts, no matter how busy he is. And he overcomes every obstacle to be with me on my birthday and our anniversaries. Seeing me hesitate, Tsinmi pulled out a few photos from her phone for me to look at. Look, this is a candid shot I had someone take. Your husband and his secretary have actually been together for a long time. What use is there for such a useless cucumber? You should just get a divorce. I was so stimulated by that photo that I was about to nod in agreement when suddenly a flood of memories from my past life surged into my mind. It turned out that after I agreed to divorce in my past life, my painful days began. After I proposed divorce to Hua Mu Bai, he begged me repeatedly to stay, even offering me 5% of the group's shares. But in that moment, blinded by jealousy, I thought he was cheating on me and was determined to divorce him. With Tsin Mi's instigation, I even attempted suicide for the sake of the divorce. In the second month of our divorce quarrel, Hua Muba had his heart broken by me, agreed to the divorce, and gave me 30 million as a settlement. Tsin Mi threw a tantrum and embarrassed Hua Yan, successfully divorcing him. Hua Yan is now just a vice president of a subsidiary company, and she received 5 million as her divorce compensation from him. After getting the money, Tsin Mi invited me to a bar to celebrate, but after getting me drunk, she took all the money and ran off to travel the world. She said, "When you're young, you should enjoy life." But she used my divorce compensation. She was feasting on my blood money. Worse still, due to alcohol poisoning from drinking, I lost the child I was carrying after being sent to the hospital. It turned out I was already pregnant with Huamubai's child, 2.5 months along. I could have been a mother, but I miscarried because she forced me to drink. After the miscarriage, I cried every day. And soon my body gave in. I needed hospitalization, but I had no money. I called Sinmi. "I'm sick. Can you return my money? Even 1 million. I need it to save my life." Then I heard the coldest and most heartless words I've ever heard in my life. "It's just a miscarriage. Why act like you're dying? You're really useless. Someone like you, who can't handle pressure, should just fend for yourself." How could she say that about me? The reason I've ended up like this is all because of her. I begged her, please give me back my money. Can you spare $1 million? You spend $200,000 on a single meal. I've seen her social media posts while traveling the world. She spends money extravagantly. She's constantly dining in the world's top restaurants and staying in the most luxurious hotels. One of her meals costs more than a year's worth of my medical expenses. But she won't give it back. On the other end of the phone, she arrogantly said, once this money is in my hands, it's mine. If you have the guts, go ahead and sue me. I've already secretly immigrated. It's very troublesome to get tangled up in a cross-border lawsuit. I can afford it, but can your body endure it? By the way, Mumbai never cheated. Those photos were photoshopped by me. I'm getting a divorce. And you can forget about continuing to be the wealthy lady. She wanted to drive me to madness, so that all my divorce compensation would be hers. I was so furious that I called the police. But they said she is no longer a Chinese resident, and the hope of recovering the stolen money is quite bleak, so I should prepare myself mentally. Later on, she wouldn't even answer my calls, yet she still flaunted her newly bought designer bags on her social media, showcasing her extravagant lifestyle. In fact, she even became an online celebrity due to her flaunting wealth, making a fortune effortlessly with promotional deals. Her life is getting better and better, while my life is stuck in the mud, decaying and stinking. It was her that harmed me and my child. With no money to my name, I could only work odd jobs while waiting for death. I didn't go to Home Yuba for help. I was too ashamed to face him. I felt like I was stupid to death. Because a single word from Tsinmi ruined my whole life. And I even easily believed the rumors of his infidelity. At the end of my life, Mubai found me. He held me tightly and wept bitterly. Why are you so foolish? You got sick and didn't think to come find me. If you need money, you can just tell me. I cried too, reluctantly caressing his face. I'm sorry. I thought I was being loyal, but I didn't realize she had been manipulating me from the start. And she caused the death of our child. We once had a child. He held me for a long time, telling me he had never remarried, that he still loved me, until I regretfully closed my eyes in his embrace. It was too late. Everything was too late. In this lifetime, I will make Tsinmi pay for her blood debts in blood. Baby, why aren't you talking? If you don't say anything, I'll take it as you agreeing. I know you value loyalty the most. Tsinmi smiled as she came over to hug me, trying to ruin my life with just a few words again. Go ahead and get divorced if you want. My husband treats me well. I don't want to divorce him. I turned away from her touch, suppressing the hatred in my heart, and said calmly, what? You're not getting divorced. He's already cheated. How can you continue with him? Don't be naive. You need to be more awake. Freedom is so valuable. Seeing I was unmoved, she tried once more to brainwash me with her rhetoric about how freedom is priceless, while the Hua family is a cage. In my previous life, I was indeed swayed by her, but not because I cherished freedom. It was because I felt sorry for her, fearing she would be lonely after the divorce, living alone. I always regarded her as my best friend. It was because I thought my husband really had cheated on me. He was so outstanding. And I was very afraid he would abandon me. I figured that rather than being driven out by him, it would be better for me to leave on my own, preserving a bit of dignity. But in reality, he had never cheated. It was Tsinmi who, tired of her good life, couldn't stand to see me thrive. She and Yu Xiao were equally vile, both with a heart of blackness. To them, a best friend was merely a stepping stone or a doormat. Could you send me the evidence of his infidelity? I want to take another look. I asked her, pretending to hesitate. I don't think that's necessary. You can see the same thing on my phone. She hesitated to give them to me because all the photos were fabricated by her, and she was afraid I'd notice the clues. If you won't let me save them to look at every day, how can I get over him? I said, my eyes red. All right, I'll send them to you. She gritted her teeth and packed up the photos to send to me, thinking that since I trusted her so much, I wouldn't suspect the photos were all manipulated. I pretended to be looking at them, but actually saved all those photos secretly. They were evidence of her damaging Huomubai's reputation, which could be quite useful in the future. You see, they're hugging each other now. So this time you've given up, right? Sinmi fanned the flames, pointing at a photo, and said to me, but I still can't bear to divorce him. He cheated. I can tolerate that. I'm still not going to divorce him. If you want to leave, just go ahead. I wish you freedom. And I wish you happiness. After saying that, I directly dove into the kitchen to make lunch. After a lifetime, now everything is still salvageable. I can't wait to see Huomubai. So I decided to go to his company to bring him lunch. While I was busy in the kitchen, Sinmi stood next to me with a grim expression, hands on her hips, reprimanding me. What's wrong with you? Are you still my sister? I'm getting a divorce. How can you not? Aren't we supposed to be the best of friends? I didn't say anything. After the servant helped chop the ribs, I began marinating them. Huomubai really enjoys my steamed ribs with yam. Seeing that I was silent, Sinmi directly broke the tension. Are you going to betray our friendship for that old man? With the divorce compensation? Wouldn't it be better for us to find ourselves some young hunks together? As I was cutting asparagus, I shook my head. No, I really like my homebody. It's so comfortable to cuddle up and sleep with him, as long as I remained unyielding. She had no way to counter it. Sinmi was so angry that she stamped her feet. How can Zhongdang compare to a little fresh meat? He's just a cheating Zhongdang. Can you stop being so love-struck? I really can't deal with you. I steamed the spare ribs and stir-fried the greens, then started washing the fruit. You like little fresh meats, but I don't. I have no ambition. I don't want to work hard outside. I just want to be a rich lady who eats and waits to die. Sinmi was left speechless from my anger. She reached for the fruit I had just washed, but I swatted her hand away. Keep your hands off. This is for my husband. Seeing me carefully pack up the lunchbox and prepare to go out to meet Huomuba for lunch, Sinmi couldn't help but speak harshly to me. Shen Xingnua. If I hadn't known Huoyen first, would you have had the chance to get close to Huomuba through me? I've been so good to you, and now you don't want to care about me. You've changed. You used to listen to everything I said. I was foolish back then, not distinguishing between my best friend and my toxic friend. There was also something she got wrong. I got to know Huomubai not because of her. Huomubai and I are alumni, and we met 3 years ago at an alumni gathering. At that time, she didn't have Huoyen by her side. I can marry Huomubai because I am worthy enough. Because I was once an intern at Huo's. In contrast, she married Huoyen because I pleaded for her in front of Huomubai. At that time, after Huoyen proposed to her, the Huo family originally opposed her entering the family, thinking she was too dramatic. It was me who told Huomubai, I don't want to feel lonely after marrying in. If she comes over, we can keep each other company. I want to be sisters-in-law with her. Afraid of hurting her self-confidence, I never brought this up with her, yet she wanted me to be grateful to her for it. I sighed and said, if I advised you not to divorce Huoyen, would you listen to me? She shook her head. No. Well, then, I sneered. If you don't listen to me, why should I listen to you? I'm not your pet. Sinmi was so angry that she pointed at my nose and scolded. Fine. I shouldn't have kindly come to pull you together to regain your freedom. I'm leaving now. Won't block your sight. In the future, if you see me divorced, don't envy or be jealous. You only deserve to be a caged bird for life. After saying that, she sulkily returned to her own room upstairs. After packing up the lunchbox, I had the family driver take me to the Huo group. Before I walked out, I told Aunt Jo the nanny, from today on, do not let Sinmi enter my and Huomubai's room alone, including my dressing room. In my previous life, after deciding to get divorced together, she quietly went in many times. The jewelry and haute couture clothes, luxury bags that Huomubai gifted me were secretly sold off by her, and she even replaced them with fakes. If it weren't for Huomubai's good temper, he would have long taken her to jail. In this lifetime, I will not allow her to harm those things that Huomubai gave to me. Aunt Jo has long disapproved of her. Yes, I will definitely keep an eye on the second young mistress and not let her run amok. This traditional Chinese mansion is under Homubai's name. It should have been up to me and Homubai to make the decisions here, while she and Ho Yen are merely staying as guests. In the past, she and I were best friends, so I let some things slide and didn't hold them against her. But from today onwards, I will let her know who the true mistress of the Hua family is. When I arrived at Hua Corporation, Secretary Li, Hua Mubu's assistant, was already waiting downstairs. She greeted me warmly. "Good day, ma'am. Mr. Hua sent me to pick you up." She was polite and straightforward with me. But in my previous life, under Tsunmi's instigation, I mistakenly thought she was involved with Hua Mubu, which escalated the situation and caused her to lose this job. Filled with guilt towards her, I smiled at her and said, "Thank you." In the elevator, I used my phone to order a set of afternoon tea and a luxury skincare product for each employee in the entire CEO office. As a token of gratitude for their help in taking care of Homubai, Secretary Li was flattered and replied, "Madam, you're too kind. Thank you very much." As I exited the elevator, Homubai, the busy man, was already waiting outside. Upon seeing me, he took the food box from my hand and naturally held my hand. "Wife, what made you decide to send me lunch today?" I looked at Homubai in front of me, and suddenly my eyes turned red. In my past life, after our divorce, I always missed him deeply, longing to stand by his side like this, with his hand holding mine. Now I could finally stand next to him again. I was so excited that I was shaking all over. I sniffed and lowered my head to suppress the urge to cry, and went with him to his office. "Of course I've missed you." Homubai, who was in the process of closing the door, froze for a moment. I tend to be more reserved, rarely expressing how much I miss him so straightforwardly, and he instinctively became nervous. "Is it that you don't have enough money, or is someone bullying you? Why are your eyes so red? Just tell me, and I'll take care of it." He has always been so good, so patient with me. I shook my head, unable to control myself as I threw myself into his arms. "It's not that. I just suddenly miss you so much. Husband, I love you." Homubai, looking bewildered, let me hold him. When he saw that I had been hugging him for quite a while without any intention of letting go, he feared that my arms might get sore. So he gently pulled me over to the sofa and willingly encircled my hand with his again. He said, "Hug me, as long as it makes you happy. You can hug me until dark. I love you too." This little display was quite endearing. I broke into a smile and leaned against him, feeling a real sense of being alive again. "Husband, it's so good to have you." Homubai leaned down to kiss me. "I can be even better. Want to try some office play? My desk is quite spacious. It's rare for me to bring him lunch, and with me rubbing against him like this, I couldn't help but feel a bit flustered. It was both a joke and a flirtation. I quickly covered his mouth with my hand and glared at him. "Don't be ridiculous. It won't sound good if this gets out." Homubai licked my palm with some dissatisfaction. "I'm sleeping with my own wife. So what's the problem if this gets out? If you won't sleep with me, you've got no reason." He looked at me with a pitiful expression. This old lecher. And I almost forgot that he had a physiological attraction to me. He couldn't help but get close whenever he saw me, transforming from a domineering CEO into a devoted husband. Afraid he might really get carried away, I leaned close to his ear and said, "I have something serious to tell you. My period is 10 days late. I remember that we seemed to forget to use protection about half a month ago. Do you think I might be pregnant?" Based on the timeline, that child from my past life should have been conceived half a month ago. Losing that child in my previous life has been a lifelong pain for me. Since fate has given me another chance, this time I will make sure to protect our child, ensuring he is born safely and grows up healthy. Homubai immediately laughed so hard he could hardly close his mouth. "Pregnant? I was wondering why you suddenly came over today." Crying and laughing all at once, he carefully held me, not daring to squeeze too tightly, fearing it would hurt me. His eyes bright with excitement. I could feel how incredibly happy he was right now. As he trembled while speaking, Wife, we're having a child. I'm so happy. Mubai is finally having a baby at my age. Ha ha ha. Who says he's old? Not even 40 yet. I reached out to lightly punch him. Nonsense. You're not old at all. Until you go to the hospital for a checkup. I'm still not sure if I'm really pregnant. Mubai held me and said, if you're pregnant, we'll become parents and take good care of him. If not, don't worry. It's definitely not your fault. We'll keep trying. And one day we'll have our own child. He's almost 40, and his peers' sons are already in high school. It's impossible for him not to be anxious. He just doesn't want to put pressure on me. Leaning in his arms, I felt an immense sense of security. I'll follow my husband's lead. In the afternoon, Mubai skipped work to accompany me to the hospital for a checkup. The blood test results confirmed that I was indeed pregnant. The baby was only 2 weeks old. Mubai's face broke into a huge grin right away. He had always wanted to have a child with me, and out of excitement, he reached for his phone to call Huiyan and share the good news. I held his hand down. No. He's in the middle of a divorce with Tsinmi. Calling him now would be like rubbing salt in his wounds. My pregnancy is still in the early stages, so we need to keep this a secret for now to avoid any envious people who might bring harm to the child. Mubai nodded repeatedly. It's still my wife who thinks things through. From now on, I'll arrange for 2 bodyguards to watch over you, 24 hours a day, ensuring your safety. Both you and the baby must be perfectly fine. I think it's necessary because if Tsinmi and you Xiao find out that I'm pregnant, out of jealousy they might harm the child in my belly. After all, they can't stand to see me happy. When I returned home, Tsinmi was causing a scene with Huiyan about getting a divorce. Tsinmi, dressed in a spaghetti strap dress, was hitting him with a pillow and throwing an ashtray at him. The ashtray landed at my feet, shattering into several pieces. Huiyan, you just don't love me. Otherwise, why won't you take me to the business dinner today? We should get a divorce. Huiyan was getting a headache from her yelling but still tried to placate her. Wife, can you stop being unreasonable? What would you do at an industry summit? It's just a bunch of men. You get jealous and I say a couple of words to you. You're so beautiful and dressed so seductively. It's easy to encounter some lecherous wolves there. Going to the dinner was just an excuse for Tsinmi. When Huiyan finally relented and agreed, Tsinmi changed her mind again. Forget it. I'm not going. I want you to kneel down and wash my feet. Massage them. My feet hurt. The maids at home couldn't help but lower their heads and stifle their laughter, thinking she was being too dramatic. Huiyan had been tired from work all day and just wanted some tender moments with his wife. But she kept pushing his buttons. He finally couldn't take it anymore. If you want your feet washed, just call a maid. I'm not a foot masseur. Tsinmi immediately found a reason to cry and make a fuss, which annoyed Huiyan. When he saw me, he reined in his temper and said to me, Auntie, sorry to disturb your rest. I plan to stay at my own place for a while. And Tsinmi will be entrusted to you. He has several properties in the city, and he couldn't stand Tsinmi's plan to hide from her. I know he's innocent, but I feel that Tsinmi, this ticking time bomb, shouldn't be left here, especially since I just got pregnant. I said to him, with Tsinmi making such a fuss, neither your uncle nor I can get any rest, so you might as well take her away. You have so many properties. Just pick one and get it ready for her to live in. Huiyan acknowledged his fault with a nod, had someone go upstairs to pack Tsinmi's belongings, and handed her a key to a small apartment. You can stay in my small apartment for a few days. Once you calm down, we can talk properly. I don't want a divorce. Tsinmi, however, did not want to leave. She pointed at me and said, do you have a conscience? You are my best friend. Yet you actually want me to go. Otherwise, this is my home, and I'm supposed to leave. Relying on the fact that she was my close friend, after she and Huiyan moved into our house, not only did she occupy the second largest suite, but she also had free food and drinks every day. With a house full of servants catering to her every need, she even drove my husband's car multiple times, used my jewelry, and wore my dresses. If she couldn't appreciate such a good life, Then she should go out and wake up a bit. Mu Bai is coming back soon. If he sees you throwing a tantrum and yelling at me like this, you are well aware of the Hua family rules. I am not just her best friend, but also her aunt, belonging to her and Huiyan's elders. And she must respect me. Tsinmi is not afraid of me. But she fears Hua Mu Bai. As soon as she thinks of Hua Mu Bai's temperament, she immediately tones it down. Fine. I'm leaving. I'll remember you. After saying that, she stamped her foot, grabbed the keys, and walked out. Huiyan gave me a apologetic smile. Sorry, Auntie. I've caused you trouble. I quietly reminded Huiyan. She has been getting too close to that Yu Xiaoxiao recently. Yu Xiaoxiao has said a lot of bad things about you. She might have led her astray. I suggest you stop her credit card for now. Let her wake up a bit. I will always keep your room for you. No matter what she does, you will always be Mu Bai's family. And also my family. Without money, let's see how she will still manage to hop around. Huiyan nodded thoughtfully. So that's how it is. I will cancel her credit card immediately. Thank you, Auntie. After they left, I had someone thoroughly clean the room where Tsinmi had stayed, packing up all her used belongings and sending them away. Out of sight and out of mind. I can drive her away. Which means I have the ability to make sure she never returns. When Hua Mu Bai came back, he saw that all the little items belonging to Tsinmi were gone. And he remarked, that pesky light bulb finally left. Now that she's gone, we can live more comfortably. My wife. You've finally come to your senses. I didn't come to my senses. I hit a brick wall and finally understood. Having dealt with the big trouble that was Tsinmi, I comfortably leaned back on the sofa, rubbing my still flat belly. My heart filled with anticipation. Is our child with Hua Mu Bai a boy or a girl? Does he take after him or me? We are sweetly in love. But Tsinmi is not having it so well. After moving into the small apartment, she complained about everything. The night view from this place is simply terrible, and there's no yard. How am I supposed to take a walk? The servant responsible for bringing her over said, this house surely can't compare to Mr. Hua's grand residence. Just make do with it. Second young madam. Maybe after a few days. You and the second young master will make up and move back. Tsinmi was still not satisfied. After picking and choosing around the house, she said to the servant, change the bedding to the top Italian brand. And I'm not happy with the style and color of the sofa either. So replace it. The curtains lack texture, so they need to be changed as well. The servant nodded, jotting it down in a small notebook, then asked her, I'll go buy these right away. May I ask how you plan to pay? A rough estimate of these things will require at least 500,000. Tsinmi handed her a card and told her to take it and swipe it. 20 minutes later, the servant returned to the apartment, offering the card back with both hands. I'm very sorry, second young madam. But your card has been frozen. You'll have to make do for one night. Tsinmi narrowed her eyes unhappily. Damn man. Actually freezing my card. Don't think this will make me compromise. Then she pointed at the maid and said, go run the bath water for me. And then come back to give me a back rub. I'm sorry. That's not within my duties. It's getting late. So I'll be heading back to Mr. Hua now. After the maid finished speaking, she turned to leave. Because she was not employed by Tsinmi. She belonged to Hua Mu Bai. The only reason she could drop Tsinmi off was that I was giving face to Huiyan. This does not mean that she, as a niece-in-law, can command Hua Mu Bai's servants to do this or that for her. After the servant left, Tsinmi called Huiyan. How could you stop my card? Do you know how embarrassed I was just now? Huiyan, who was busy working overtime on the line, had no time to waste on her. I'm working overtime. If there's nothing else, hurry up and hang up. Tsinmi shouted on the other end of the phone. How can you treat me like this? You said you would love me for a lifetime. Huiyan impatiently said to her. Can you just calm down and reason a bit? You're the one who's going to divorce me. So why can't I cancel your card? All that money in there is mine. At this point, Tsinmi had nothing to say. Indeed, all the food and drinks she had over the years hadn't come from her own money. After hanging up the phone, Tsinmi felt a bit down. She didn't take my earlier advice but instead called you Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao. I'm feeling a bit unhappy. Let's go drink together. Yu Xiao Xiao couldn't be happier for her to go down that path and immediately provided the address, inviting her to meet. She also notified me. Xing Noa. Sinmi and I are going to the bar for a few drinks. Do you want to come? Looking at the message sent to me by Yu Xiao Xiao on my phone, I paused for a while before replying to her. I'm not going. My husband is strict. Enjoy your meal and drinks. After sending the message, I called the manager of the bar under the Hua family. From now on, when Yu Xiao Xiao and Sinmi come to the bar, let them pay for themselves. I won't be covering their bills anymore. The manager agreed and said that starting today, all their expenses would require them to pay immediately. After taking care of this matter, I directly blocked Yu Xiao Xiao. In the past, every time they had a gathering, as long as they called me, I would pay the bill. Even if I didn't go, they would still put the drink costs on my tab. Now that these two bloodsuckers no longer have me, their cash cow, to rely on, let them drain each other dry. When Huamuba came out of the bathroom and saw me staring blankly at my phone, he asked me what was wrong. I told him about the situation. I feel that Yu Xiao Xiao has ulterior motives. I remember she is currently managing a store at one of the Hua Corporation's subsidiaries thanks to Tsinmi pulling strings for her. Can someone like her really serve customers well? Why don't you have someone investigate her professional capabilities? If she's not up to par, just let her go. Huamuba said. That's simple. I'll have someone check first thing tomorrow morning. If there's an issue with her character, we'll replace her. Then he yelled at me to go to sleep early while seriously reading the pregnancy care manual that the assistant had just delivered. I lay down next to him, inhaling the familiar scent of his shower gel, feeling very reassured. After putting my phone on silent, I quickly fell asleep. That night, Sinmi and Yu Xiao Xiao called me many times, but I didn't answer. It wasn't until the next morning that I realized how exciting their night had been. They had ordered 4 top male models to hug them tight, as well as several bottles of wine costing over 100,000, along with some fruit platters. After drinking and eating until midnight, they found themselves without money to pay the bill. When the bar manager threatened to call the police, Sinmi, unable to reach me, had no choice but to seek out Huayan. Huayan paid the bill for her, but upon learning that she had ordered a male model, he couldn't help but shout at her. We're not even divorced yet, and you're ordering a male model. Are you out of your mind? If that Yu Xiao Xiao told you to die, would you go do it too? Sinmi, on the phone with him, argued for Yu Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao is my best friend. She's just worried about me. How can you say that about her? Having barely slept for 2 hours in the middle of the night, he was woken by this nonsense, and his anger flared. If you think she's so great, go live with her. Why even get married? Sinmi frowned. What do you mean? Huayan sneered. As you wish. We'll get divorced. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau at 9 this morning. Sinmi had thought that it would take a long time for Huayan to agree to the divorce after she put on her act, but without her being foolishly beside her this time, Huayan agreed to her request for divorce in just a day. It was indeed the point where she picked a male model that hurt Huayan's pride too greatly. Huayan is handsome and wealthy. Could he possibly be inferior to those men who sell themselves? At this moment, Sinmi hesitated a little, a bad feeling creeping over her. I want to think it over. However, Yu Xiao Xiao immediately urged her in a whisper. Me, don't hesitate. Quickly agree to him. This is the freedom you've always dreamed of. Didn't you say you wanted to travel the world after the divorce and become a travel blogger? Your dream is about to come true. Sinmi couldn't help but be persuaded. As soon as Yu Xiao Xiao pushed her, she immediately relented and said to Huayan, Okay, see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. Whoever doesn't go is a grandson. When I went downstairs this morning, Huayan was already at my house, sitting in the living room discussing with Huamubai how much divorce compensation to give Sinmi. Huayan said, the fault in the divorce lies with her. I think giving her around 2 million should be enough. After the marriage, she benefited from you all, and she has contributed nothing to this family. In my previous life. Because Hua Mubai took the initiative to offer me 30 million in divorce compensation. Hua Yan was afraid that a comparison would make him seem too stingy. So he gave Tsinmi 5 million in compensation. But Hua Mubai was indeed quite generous. Even towards a former niece-in-law. He said, "It's not easy for a woman to navigate society. She is still your little aunt's close friend. So for the sake of your little aunt, give her a little more compensation. You contribute 3 million. And I'll help you with 2 million. Hearing this, I spoke up from the second floor. "Honey, you mustn't give her extra compensation for divorce just because she's my close friend. I think you need to see this." I went downstairs and handed him my chat interface with Tsinmi, which displayed several composite photos she had sent me, photos that were utterly horrific. After Hua Mubai saw those photos, his brows furrowed deeply, and he quickly explained, "This is not true. Secretary Li and I are completely innocent. She prefers women." Seeing how nervous he was, I patted his hand and softly reassured him. "I know. I believe you haven't betrayed me. These are from Tsinmi, and she claimed you cheated on me. She even urged me to choose divorce with her. And when I disagreed, she insulted me. She slanders you like this. Not deserving to be my friend. So you must not show her mercy for my sake." After seeing those photos, Hua Mubai changed his mind. He felt that Tsinmi was nothing but a petulant ingrate. He said to Hua Yan, "She bullies my wife like this. I propose we let her leave empty-handed. So she knows that our Hua family is not to be trifled with. Additionally, I will take this evidence and sue her for defamation." "Uncle, whatever you say, I'll do." Hua Yan, seeing him angered, did not dare to plead for Tsinmi, thinking her actions were simply foolish. Who doesn't know that Hua Mubai cares about me the most? She dares to sow discord between me and Hua Mubai. This crosses his bottom line, and Hua Mubai will definitely not let her off easily. After discussing some follow-up details, Hua Yan went out, and Hua Mubai came to the dining room to have breakfast with me, personally peeling an egg for me. "Eat more. If Tsinmi bullies you, I will help you take revenge for this." I nodded and reached out to straighten Hua Mubai's tie. "Thank you, hubby." Tsinmi's good days came to an end from that day on. Yu Xiao Zhao's good days also came to an end. She was fired on the grounds that she had repeatedly humiliated those guests who dressed plainly, looking down on them. Leave with nothing. Tsinmi thought she must have misheard. It was clearly not like this in her past life, as she had received 5 million in divorce compensation. "Yes. Just sign if you agree. If you don't, we'll just drag this out. But you can't stay in my apartment anymore. I will take it back immediately." Hua Yan didn't waste words with her and directly threw the divorce agreement in front of her, cutting off all her escape routes. "Where will I live after leaving with nothing?" Tsinmi's expression turned grim. "Live wherever you want. For instance, at your good friend Yu Xiaoxiao's place. She's currently unemployed and has plenty of time to keep you company." "Yes, Mimi, you can stay at my place. I welcome you to come. Stay as long as you like. I can even accompany you on a global tour. We are the best of friends." Su Xiaoxiao immediately extended an olive branch to Tsinmi in order to help her divorce smoothly, even though she secretly hated her to death for causing her to lose her job at the subsidiary under the Hua family. "All right. I'll sign." Seeing that further discussion would yield no benefits, Tsinmi signed the divorce agreement. She thought that as long as she relied on travel to become a travel blogger like in her previous life, she could live a good life and earn a lot of money. After the two of them went in to process the divorce, they would need to wait a month to receive the divorce certificate. During this month, Tsinmi moved into Su Xiaoxiao's home. To be precise, it was the rented apartment that Su Xiaoxiao had. The apartment was in the old district, shabby and small, but Tsinmi had nowhere else to go now. She had no habit of saving money before marriage, and after marriage, she had been accustomed to spending the pocket money given by the Hua family lavishly, so she hadn't saved any money. At first, she could endure the stuffiness of the small rental apartment, but after just a couple of days, she couldn't stand it anymore. The houses in the old district were a bit aged, and the sound insulation wasn't very good. At night when she was trying to sleep, It was either the dogs barking outside or the young couple upstairs rocking their bed frame. Having been accustomed to a good life, Sinmi couldn't sleep because of this. She felt that this was simply not a life anyone should have to endure. On top of that, Hua Mubai had filed a lawsuit against her, demanding 1 million in damages for reputational harm, which she couldn't afford, turning her into a person marked by dishonesty. She took the initiative to call me. Xing Noa, I'm a bit short on cash right now. Can you lend me some money? I asked. How much do you want to borrow? She said, 10 million. That amount is nothing for you. The necklace your husband gave you costs more than that. I was both amused and annoyed. Her appetite was truly immense. I have the money, but there's no way I'm going to let her squander it. Allowing her to live well for even a day after the divorce I'd rather lose. I returned to her the words she once said to me. You're really useless. Just fend for yourself. Sinmi instantly reacted. You've been reborn too. You're deliberately seeking revenge on me. It turned out she was also a reborn person. Once eating my human flesh bun wasn't enough. She wanted to drag me down again. She's truly malicious. I pretended not to understand what she was saying and only said, what rebirth? If you have delusions, go get treated. I will never lend you money. Let's cut ties from now on. You're no longer worthy of my circle. I returned to her the sharp words she had once given me in her previous life. As a result, Sinmi was quite certain that I had also been reborn. On the other end of the line, she pleaded with me. Xing Noa, I was wrong in my last life. I let you down. Please lend me 10 million so that I can travel the world and become a travel blogger. I will earn a lot of money, and I will pay you back. Can you help me? Please. This time, it was my turn to hang up on her. At the moment I pressed the end call button. I severed her hope of rescue, but I still didn't blacklist her. I kept her contact information because it was still useful. In order to secure funding for the world trip, under Yu Xiaoxiao's suggestion, Sinmi mortgaged her parents' house to take out a high-interest loan. Then, in preparation for the post-divorce trip, she started to get ready, buying a lot of things needed for the journey. This alone cost a large sum of money. As she insisted on getting the best of everything and couldn't shake off her habit of spending extravagantly, by the time she received the divorce certificate, she was left with only the 80,000 she had borrowed. For others, that amount might cover a year's expenses, but for her, it was barely enough for a single meal. She thought that as long as she showed up wearing a faded old outfit, Hua Yan would soften and willingly lend her money. However, after receiving the divorce certificate, Hua Yan left immediately. Not even waiting for her to ask for money. Due to being classified as a dishonest person, she couldn't travel abroad normally, so she ultimately chose to sneak across the border. Before leaving, Sinmi sent me a message. I will prove that even without your help, I will succeed in this lifetime. If I can't travel luxuriously, then I'll create a budget travel guide, all from places I've been to once. It shouldn't be too difficult. I replied to her only after she landed in America, using one sentence to completely break her defenses. You know, Yu Xiaoxiao reached out to me through multiple contacts, asking me to introduce her to your ex-husband. She advised you to get a divorce so she could take your husband. Sinmi didn't believe me, so I provided the video of Yu Xiaoxiao pleading with me. Sinmi said, this must be a fake video you created. She wouldn't treat me this way. Just like you can never wake someone who is pretending to be asleep. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her and directly blocked her. I kept her around until now just to let her see what kind of person Yu Xiaoxiao, whom she trusted so much, really is. I want to see them tear each other apart. Due to a lack of a visa and money, Sinmi's budget travel turned into a life of hiding and evasion. While she posted her budget travel tips online, she ended up living on the streets, relying on food donations to get by. After checking out her account, I decided to lend her a hand. I helped her buy data, allowing more people to see her travel style, akin to that of a street rat. Soon, a number of comments flooded into her comment section. Is this smuggling to become homeless? It really brings shame to the country. In order to hitch a ride, she actually let that white man take advantage of her. Does she not care about her dignity for the sake of views? The video even has footage of her stealing. And the person she stole from is also of our nationality. I'm going to report her. People like this should be deported immediately. She's in California now. Just wait. I'm going to put on my cap and go find her. On that day, she didn't post any more information on her account. I heard she was arrested for theft and facing 3 months in jail before being deported. 3 months later, she was finally deported. After returning to her home country, she went back home. But due to her inability to repay the high-interest loans she had taken out, her family's house had already been seized by the lenders. Her parents rented a small house in a town near the city, and they were livid with her, even cutting off all ties. She wanted to ask me for help. But when she couldn't find me, she turned to my parents. Fortunately, they had already moved. I bought them a small villa with a pond in the suburbs. My dad could fish, and my mom could plant flowers. The area was very quiet, with good security, and she couldn't get into the villa community. To make a living, she started looking for work. But legitimate jobs paid too slowly. In order to earn money quickly and pay off her debts sooner, she became the mistress of a man in his 60s, gradually managing to pay off more than half of her debts. As the new year approached, the class monitor suggested holding a gathering. And she learned that I would be attending as well. Finally, on the day of the class reunion, she found her chance to see me. "Are you pregnant?" Sunmi arrived early at the gathering restaurant, wearing an out-of-season designer dress. Feeling superior until she saw me walking in slowly with my big belly, at which point her smile instantly vanished. "Yes." I nodded, then ignored her and started chatting with another female classmate next to me. "Xing Noa. This bracelet of yours must be worth quite a bit, right? Xing Noa. Your skin is so beautiful. You must be about to give birth. This baby of yours is the only hope of the Hua family. You are really lucky." As soon as I arrived, I instantly became the focus of everyone's flattery. Those who had previously fawned over Tsunmi quickly pushed her aside. Both because of my better attire and because my husband is Hua Bai. I casually responded to a few comments until Tsunmi took the initiative to walk over, wanting to switch places with a female classmate beside me. "I want to chat with Xing Noa. Can we switch seats?" As the female classmate was about to stand up, I refused. "I have nothing to say to you. Please keep 3 meters away from me, or don't blame my bodyguard for being rude." Tsunmi found herself in a dilemma. I wouldn't let her sit down, and she was unwilling to leave. In the end, she stopped 3 meters away and asked me, "You really can't forgive me? We've been good friends for many years. Is it worth it to sever ties over something so trivial?" "What do you mean by something trivial?" "It turns out that in my past life, she caused my demise. And to her, it was just something trivial. Perhaps it's time for her to experience the taste of being cornered as well." I was pregnant and didn't want to argue with her too much, for fear of disturbing the baby. I casually said, "There is no friendship left between us. Perhaps you can go find Yu Xiao. I remember you two were good friends." Upon hearing me mention Yu Xiao, she started to cry. She lamented in front of me, "Xing Noa. I'm only now realizing that she encouraged my divorce, making me end up like this, just to harm me. She can't stand to see me do well. Only you truly treat me with kindness." After I returned to the country, I went to look for her. Not only did she refuse to take me in, but she also called me stupid and kicked me out onto the street. "Can we continue to be best friends? If you can help our boss Wang, just by getting him an order from your family, he would be willing to divorce that yellow-faced woman from his family and make me the legitimate one." Her current support is that old man. The old man has some money, but he is unwilling to help her pay off her debts immediately. And even less willing to take her home unless she can secure an order from the Hua family through me, allowing the old man to cling to the Hua family's leg. "So it turns out you were waiting for me here." She cried pitifully, and some classmates felt sympathy and urged me. "It's just a classmate thing. How about you help her out?" I coldly laughed. She is shameless enough to be someone's mistress. So why should I help her bully innocent Mrs. Wang? Just because she cries. Does that make her right? Do you all know why she divorced Hui Yan in the first place? Everyone looked at each other. And then someone said. Sunmi said it was due to emotional discord. Right. So this is how she had everyone fooled. I directly pulled up the verdict from my phone. It's because she wanted me to divorce as well, slandering my husband for cheating. And because she was seeking male models during the marriage. Caught in a compromising situation with two men by Huiyan. Since she wants to play the victim and moralistically coerce me, then don't blame me for exposing her past. How could she do that? It's so disgusting. Even scheming against her best friend. Is she even human? How could she have the nerve to ask Xing Noa for leniency? I've heard about her failing as a travel blogger abroad. They say she stole things from locals just to save money while traveling and ended up in jail because of it. Her character is so low. The sneers of the crowd nearly drowned her out. If Sunmi had any sense of shame left, she should have slunk away immediately. But she was long past caring about her dignity. With a reckless abandon, she pointed her finger at my nose and exclaimed, "So what? That doesn't change the fact that we were once best friends. You once said you wouldn't abandon me, that you wouldn't leave me behind. Do you want to go back on your word?" In her past life, she had caused the death of both me and my child. Why should I still honor that damn agreement? I instinctively touched my belly where the baby was. And it seemed to sense my emotional turmoil, giving me a gentle kick. I told myself not to get worked up. After forcing myself to calm down, I said coldly, "People like you, scum of the earth, have long since lost the right to be my best friend. Don't tarnish the term best friend. By the way, you probably don't know, your ex-husband, Huiyan, has remarried. He married the only daughter of the Chen family, who is gentle, beautiful, and treats him particularly well. They have already moved to Kyoto to develop their future. He told me that if he runs into you, he wants me to say thank you on his behalf. If it weren't for you insisting on divorcing him, he wouldn't have met such a wonderful current wife." At this moment, Sunmi deeply regretted her decision back then. If she hadn't listened to malicious gossip, she would still be living a life where clothes are handed to her and meals are served. She would still be the second young mistress of the Hua family. Nor would she have lost her uterus from the hellish experience of being bullied by inmates in a prison in the U.S. Meaning she would never be able to have her own children for the rest of her life. She looked at herself, then at me, seeing me all glamorous and pregnant. She was nearly driven mad with jealousy. Then she did something she would regret for the rest of her life. She grabbed the dinner knife from the table and thrust it towards my belly, shouting, "How dare you live better than me? You should die." At that critical moment, I calmly took a sip of tea, coldly staring at her, because the next second, when she was still 2 meters away from me, one of the 2 bodyguards standing behind me wrested the dinner knife from her hand, while the other kicked her away. She was quickly subdued by the bodyguards, pinned to the ground and unable to move. One of my classmates helped me call the police. "Hello, is this the police? Someone is attacking here." She lay defeated on the ground, knowing that Huamubai would definitely not let her off. Finally, she cried, collapsing on the ground, her sobs ragged. "I was wrong. Just spare me this once. I was blinded by greed." I leaned back in the chair, looking down at her from a height. "You don't just realize your mistake. You know you are completely finished. Attempted murder will land you in prison, and your backers won't be able to save you." I had anticipated she might resort to this. She wouldn't miss the chance to hurt me. So before coming to the class reunion today, I had made preparations. Not only had the cameras in this private room been set up well in advance, but my meal had also been inspected beforehand. The 2 bodyguards I brought with me were both retired special forces, and 3 meters was enough for them to stop Sunmi from doing anything to me. I would never joke about the child in my belly. Sunmi lay there in a miserable heap, staring at me intently, her gaze unwavering until she was taken away by the police. She said nothing and looked defeated and vacant. But this was not the end. It was merely the beginning. She treated me like this not just because Humubin wouldn't let her go. But I wouldn't let her go either. I would not give her any chance to turn her situation around. Xing Noa. Just as I was about to leave the restaurant, Humubin rushed in. Frantic. When he saw me standing there, completely unharmed, he immediately rushed over and embraced me. On the verge of tears. "Honey, I'm fine." The baby wasn't scared at all. I was well protected. Sensing his whole body was trembling, I obediently let him hold me, softly reassuring him I was about to give birth, and he was particularly on edge this month. "That's good. I can't be without you and the baby." He released me, carefully supporting me. "Wife, I'm here to take you home. Just take your time. There's no rush. I'm really fine." I slowly sat in the car with his help. After the car door closed, he immediately touched my hand. "Wife, are you cold? Do you want me to turn up the air conditioning?" I shook my head and leaned on his shoulder. "I'm not cold. I'm fine. Don't worry. The baby and I will be okay. And we'll always be with you." Hwamubai held my hand and said with lingering fear, "Promise me. Don't get too close to her again. She's too extreme." I nodded. "Don't worry. I'll be more careful in the future." At night, Hwamubai leaned against the headboard, preparing for prenatal education for the baby in my belly. He told stories vividly and even introduced himself. "Baby, I'm your dad." When the child in my belly heard his voice, they joyfully started clapping and drumming. He was looking forward to meeting the child, and the child was also excited to meet him. I gently smiled while touching my belly, which would occasionally protrude. Hwamubai hired the best lawyer to handle the attempted murder case against Sunmi. When Sunmi found out, she laughed and said, "I'm doomed." A month later, when the trial started and I appeared in court as the victim, Hwamubai, fearing she might harm me again, assigned me 10 bodyguards all at once, which seemed overly exaggerated but made me feel quite safe. Sunmi seemed to have aged 20 years overnight. Now, not only was Hwamubai unwilling to let her go, but President Wang's wife was also preparing to deal with her upon learning that she was President Wang's mistress. As soon as she entered prison, there would be someone waiting to make her suffer, turning her life into an unbearable experience. In the end, she was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. When she heard the verdict, her expression was blank, like an old hand who didn't fear boiling water. 3 years or 30 years made no difference to her now. President Wang no longer wanted her. By the time she came out of prison, she would have lost her youth and beauty. Her once prized looks would be gone, and she wouldn't have the chance to make a comeback. As she was taken away, she cast one last glance in my direction, then lowered her head. After being imprisoned, Mr. Wang's wife asked her cellmate to take good care of her. Sunmi couldn't endure their brutal treatment and attempted to end her life several times. But each time someone found her and brought her back, she lived like a walking corpse, each day feeling like a year, suffering more than death itself. On the other side, on the second day of the new year, after my water broke, I was wheeled into the delivery room. Hwamubai was concerned about me, so he chose to accompany me into the delivery room. Throughout the entire process of giving birth, he held my hand tightly, cheering me on. Fortunately, my delivery was quite smooth, and after an hour and a half, I gave birth to a baby boy. Both mother and child are safe. After the baby's cries echoed throughout the delivery room, the doctor brought over the cleaned-up baby for us to see. The little guy had his eyes closed and his face was wrinkled, but when I reached out to touch his tiny hand, he instinctively grasped my finger, which was incredibly adorable. Hwamubai stood by, emotionally misty-eyed, staring intently at me and the baby. "Honey, this is our child. He looks just as good as you." I nodded. "The nose and mouth are like yours. The ears and chin are like mine. This child has really inherited the best traits from both of us." We exchanged a smile. When I got home after being discharged from the hospital to observe the month of confinement, I received a letter from prison, written by Sunmi. Due to the beatings, her originally delicate handwriting had become crooked and twisted, and the paper was stained with tears. She said she truly realized her mistakes and begged me, as an old friend of many years, to help her plead with Mr. Wang's wife to be lenient. I directly threw the letter into the trash after reading it. In my previous life, when she caused me to die twice, She never showed me any mercy, she replied in her letter. The affair between you and Mr. Wang was disclosed to Mrs. Wang by me. Sun-mi lost all hope and committed suicide in prison using a toothbrush. When she was discovered this time, the blood was flowing heavily, and they couldn't save her. Her life was frozen at the age of 26. In the end, her parents felt a pang of compassion, went to retrieve her body, cremated it into a jar of ashes, and buried it in the graveyard of their hometown. Sun-mi, who was supposed to have a beautiful life, ultimately ruined her great future because of her own foolishness. Without me as her stepping stone in this life, her journey is no longer smooth sailing, but filled with hardships. As time passed day by day, I gradually began to forget the hatred along with her. When the baby turned 2, I became pregnant with my second child, and Hua Mu-bai was so happy that he gave an extra month's salary to all the employees of the group. On a spring day, the sun was warm and bright. Hua Mu-bai held the baby who had just learned to run, occasionally turning back to check on me sitting on the grass, basking in the sun, concerned about whether I was too hot or feeling nauseous again. The happiness of this moment is what I longed for before I died in my past life. It's wonderful that in this life we have a good ending, with our family reunited. The end.